Hi guys! Today we're going to be talking about capacity. In class, before we talked about capacity, we actually did a few things to kind of wake our brains up. One of them was playing this review temperature game. So I would suggest that you pause the video and type that address in, and you could practice that review temperature game as well. Also, the capacity song by Number Rock is a great way to help us remember capacity. All right, so this is the second part of our measurement segment, and that is going to be capacity. There's also a really great brain pop that goes with this that can help out that we showed in class as well. But capacity tells how much something holds. All right, it's measuring how much can you actually get into something. So notice I've got a gallon, a quart, and a pint. All right, things that we measure in cups. We use capacity a lot when we're talking about our food and our drink and when we're in the kitchen baking. So things that we might think of when we're measuring cups. One of them would just be some measuring cups. All right, we might say it's 2 cups or 3 cups of sugar or flour or water or honey, something like that. Another thing would be just the cups of things that we drink, like a cup of orange juice. That's our example here. We have a cup of coffee. This is also measured in cups. We have a bowl of soup. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that's only 1 cup of soup, but that means that cups are smaller units of measure. So we would measure a bowl of soup in cups. All right, the next one would be a can of soup. That would be measured in cups, again, because it's small. And last of all, you can kind of see in ounces. So one of those solo cups would be about 12 ounces. Typically, a cup is about 8 ounces, but a solo cup is going to be a little bit larger than a cup. The next unit that we have is pints. That's kind of the next step up, all right? And here's some things measured in pints. So we see that we have a milk container. These are some of the older milk containers, but it's in pints. So what you need to know about pints is that every pint holds 2 cups. All right, when we buy those water bottles, that is about 2 cups of water in those water bottles. And of course, I have a 2-cup measuring cup. So that is 1 pint because it has 2 cups inside. All right, and then you'll just see a little small container that is a pint. Now I want to show you something because these are the milk cartons that you all drink from each day at school that the school provides. I want you to notice what it says down there. It actually says that it is half a pint. So what that means is every day for lunch when you get a little milk carton, you're actually having 1 cup of milk because a pint holds 2 cups of milk. So you're actually having 1 cup of milk every time you drink one of those milk containers. All right. The next unit of a measure, so we started with cup, then we went to pint. So inside each pint, there are 2 cups. So now we're moving to quarts, and quarts is the next size up. So here's some things that are kind of in quarts. All right, you'll see these kind of things in the dairy department at the grocery store. So this is a quart of eggnog. We have lots of our liquids for detergents are measured in quarts. All right, here's some more things that you might be using in the dishwasher. I am going to point out that quarts and liters are very, very similar. Quarts is in customary units and liters is in the metric unit. But you might see at the bottom, if you look at the bottom of your containers, you might see quarts or you might see liters. All right, if you get a half a gallon of milk, that's actually a quart of, well, it's a quart of milk, I'm sorry. Uh, and you'll see that it's the long, skinny kind. All right, oil is measured often in quarts too, if you go get a container of oil. And there's that milk quart as well. All right, and more detergents. So a lot of liquid things that are kind of tall and skinny are going to be measured in quarts. So remember, we had 2 cups were in a pint. All right, well, in a quart, we actually have 2 pints equal 1 quart. So if we have 2 pints in one of these quarts right here, that means we're actually going to have 4 cups inside the quart. All right, so every time you have 4 cups, you have a quart. Every time you have 2 pints, you have a quart. All right, keep that in mind. The next thing we have is the next largest amount that we have for capacity, and that is in gallons. Now, when we think of gallons, we think of things that we measure with lots, with a large amount. All right, some of the Clorox containers, a gallon of milk, that's what I typically think of. All right, when we have a 5-gallon fish tank or a 10-gallon fish tank, that's measured in gallons because it takes a lot to fill it up. All right, a pool would be measured in gallons because you're putting lots of water inside. All right, we can get gallons of ice cream. We buy gas by the gallon. It's sold by the gallon. All right, some other things, we have buckets that are in gallons, 5-gallon buckets. And paint is also sold by gallons. So gallons would be where we have the largest amount of things. So watch what I'm doing here. In a gallon, you have 4 quarts in a gallon. If you have 4 quarts in a gallon, that means that you have 2 pints here, 2 pints here, 2 pints here, 2 pints here. That means that you have 8 pints in a gallon. All right? Inside each pint, you have 4 cups. All right? I'm sorry, inside each quart, you have 4 cups. So you have 4 cups, 4 cups, 4 cups, 4 cups. That gives you 16 cups. So inside of a gallon, you're going to have 16 cups. You're going to have 4 quarts, and you're going to have 8 pints inside a gallon. That's a lot of things to keep in mind. I use my body when I'm thinking about the gallon. All right, and I'll show you in just a little bit. All right, so if we're just kind of talking about how things are related, we can see that gallons is our largest unit of measurement. Then we have our quarts, our pints, and our cups. All right, and here's some of the figures that you've seen us use when we think of gallons, quarts, and pints. All right, we see that 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. And of course, here it's broken down even a little bit more. You can see the 4 quarts, 8 pints, 16 cups, and it even tells you how many ounces. Because there's about 8 ounces or 10 ounces in a cup, something similar to that. All right, you can see our quart has 2 pints, 4 cups. All right, our pint has 2 cups. And then you can see all the way down to our tablespoons. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to think about what type of measurement would you use for a can of soda. All right, so if I had a can of soda, would it be better to measure it in cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? All right, hopefully you answered cups because it's a small amount. All right, the next one is a big water fountain. So would you want to measure that with cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? Now, obviously, you could measure it with all of them, but what would be the best measurement? Okay, if you said gallons, you're correct because it uses a lot of water. All right, this is a ketchup container. What do you think? Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? All right, this one might stump you a little bit because basically it depends on the size of the bottle that you actually buy. You can buy smaller ones that could be measured in cups. You could have a pint of ketchup. I don't know that you're going to have a quart or a gallon of ketchup, but cups and pints are going to be your smaller amount, and it's probably going to be measured in one of those, probably closer to the cups. All right, what about this one? Soap. Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? Okay, again, this is going to depend on how much soap you get, but we're going to lean more towards the cups and the pints because this is smaller, because this is the hand soap. Okay? All right, how about a teapot? All right, in this case, would it be cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? All right, again, this is going to depend on the size of the teapot. So you could possibly measure it in cups depending on the size. You could do it in pints because remember there's 2 cups in a pint. A quart would have um, it would have 2 pints in it. So you might even have a teapot that holds a quart. Chances are your teapot's not going to hold a gallon. All right. So cups, pints, or quarts would probably be okay. Quarts is stretching it just a little bit, so it's probably going to be more pints. All right, this is a swimming pool. Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons. All right. Where the other ones we said you could do this and you could do this and you could do this, you know what? This is a lot of water, so gallons is going to be your best choice. All right, this is one of those juice boxes. What do you think? Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? Okay, in this case, I definitely would pick cups. In fact, there's probably 1 cup in there. There's not a whole lot of juice. All right, what about this big dump truck? Do you think that it would hold cups, pints, quarts, or gallons best? All right, in this case, again, because it holds a large space, we would go with gallons. All right, what about some yogurt? Okay, cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? These yogurts I think of as like little yogurts I might have at lunchtime, so I would measure these with cups. What about a bathtub? Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? All right, again, this is a large amount of water, so I'd go with gallons. What about this jar? Cups, pints, quarts, or gallons? All right, this was really tricky because we don't know exactly how big the jar is. It could be any one of these actually. I would probably say we often talk about quart jars, so I probably would tend to go with quarts, but it just depends on how big the size of the jar is. All right, I know in 2nd grade some of you learned the land of gallons, so I'm just reviewing it here. We talk about the land of gallon, and we've got our 4 queens, which is our quarts, we've got our pints, and we've got our cups, and you can see how that's labeled out. In 3rd grade, my preference is the gallon man. That's my favorite part, and I told you I'd show you that. So I think of myself as the gallon, and then I've got a quart here, I've got a quart here, I've got a quart on my one leg and a quart on the other leg. So my 4 parts. So notice I'm going to just circle these. I've got my quart, 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 quart. So when my class does it, when we're in session, we do kind of the Macarena. Quart, 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 quart. All right, so we've got 4 quarts. And then right in here in my arm, I'm trying to show it. In my arm has 2 parts. So this is pint, pint. So it's pint, 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 pint. And then on the 2 parts of my legs, pint, 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 pint. So you can see here's pint, pint. There's 2 pints here. And pint, pint, 2 pints there. And pint, pint, 2 pints there. And pint, pint, 2 pints there. So that's my 8 pints in the gallon. And then the last part I say is cup, 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 cup. And then I tap my toes, cup, 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 cup. And that goes for the 16 cups. All right, here's just another look at a gallon man. It's again my preference, but as long as you understand how the gallon works, that is just fine. Okay, now we're going to determine what is equal. So we're going to use the idea of the gallon man, or you can use your land of gallon, but I'm going to use the gallon man. So how many pints are in 1 gallon? Remember, this is my gallon right here. And so when I am thinking about a gallon, I can pull it up and I have pint, pint. So I'm going to have pint, 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 pint. That's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to have 8 pints are going to be in a gallon. How many quarts are in half a gallon? Now in class, we lean over since we're the gallon man and we only count half of us. So if I lean over and count that, I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So if I lean over, I only count 2 of them. 1, 2. So I have 2 quarts in my half gallon. And how many cups are in 2 pints? If you remember, we had pint, pint, and for each pint we had 2 cups. So that's pint, 1, 2, pint, 3, 4. So I'm going to have 4 cups in 2 pints. All right, the next one. How many cups are in 1 gallon? I love this question. All right, because what I say is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I tap 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 cups in 1 gallon. How many cups are in 4 pints? All right, I go back to my body again and I say 1, 2 pints, 3, 4. So I know that there are 4 cups in these 2 pints, and I know there are 4 cups in these 2 pints, so I have 8 cups in 4 pints. And then how many pints are in 1 quart? All right, in that case, I know that this is a quart, and I know that in 1 quart, I have 2 pints. So I have 2 pints in 1 quart. All right, guys, we've been working hard on capacity, and I would suggest that you go back, review the Land of Gallon or the Gallon Man, whichever works best for you, and you're able to spot things that are measured in gallons and cups and pints and quarts and liters. Till next time, bye-bye.